Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here. Welcome to brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping today. Today, going to go out. I'm going to try and find a couple of different thrift stores too. There's a few ones that I think I found to see if they're open and try and go to some other ones. Also, want to let you guys know too. Going to have a couple DVD and Blu-ray reviews at the end of this video. Some really cool Arrow releases like The Stuff and The Zero Boys. Also, this Saturday I'm going to be at Monsterpalooza and the Monsterpalooza Horror Convention up in Pasadena. With I'm going to be there. Danny Sinister is going to be there. Wet Movie's going to be there. So if you see us there, don't be afraid to say hello. So anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. Yeah, so the real big thing that came out today was, the Leonardo DiCaprio film, The Revenant, which, with Tom Hardy as well. Really, really good movie. Really like this one a lot. This one's, $19.99 here. I don't know if there's any steelbooks or anything like this one. I don't believe there is, but this is definitely a really good one. Also, one of the other things, they also have it on 4K in here, so it's even Target now is starting to get the 4K releases of stuff in here. So it's interesting to see how, people are going to really start to embrace it or not. This other one that came out today was this Al Pacino movie and Anthony Hopkins film, Misconduct. Don't know much at all about this one. If you guys have seen this one, let me know if this one's worth checking out. And also today is Marlon Wayne's film 50 Shades of Black, which I reviewed in the last update video. If you guys haven't seen that, check out the review of that. But I thought this was actually a pretty fun film. Into the Women's Research Center thrift store we go. And there are a few movies in here. There's something, this weird one I saw. It's like Snow on Ice, which is something from Target, like one of these weird, like from 1997, some kind of like a Target produced like skating kind of movies. And a weird thing here on plumbing. These are always sometimes the weirdest tapes to watch from 1994. But I guess a guy showing you how to do some plumbing stuff. Those tapes to me are always some of the weirdest ones to watch because they're just so peculiar. And the kind of things that you feel like are kind of really lost in like the circuits of time. And there's this thing, Military Youth Camping and Separation. Like, I don't know what that is. And this is the one thing I always show. You always see these in thrift stores out here. The Super Dentist, which I always say is this weird produced thing that this dentist company out here produced, which is like a movie to kind of get people to try and get them to go there and go there. And there's a weird like I don't know what this is, Invisible Ballots, The Village Barber Shop, really weird stuff in here. That looks so like strange pubes on the ground. And a Little Bow Wow kind of movie, Beware of the Video. I don't know much about what that is. I don't know, a lot of peculiar kind of stuff in here. Really random stuff in here. And there's a couple more movies down here. This strange Davy Crockett tape, American Tales and Legends, Davy Crockett. I don't know what this is, from 1986. I don't know if I've ever seen this before in my life. It's kind of interesting looking. I don't know. And hey, His Girl Friday. This real old one with Cary Grant, His Girl Friday, Amelie, a Blade one, a sealed copy of Blade. You can get a sealed copy of Blade in here. And then a couple more random ones down here, but nothing too different, except the only thing different I really saw was this thing that looks kind of odd. And that, that's pretty much it. That one and then the plumbing one. Into the thrift store we go. There are a whole bunch of movies in here, all DVDs, $1. So we'll look through here, see if there's anything different. Here's one of these Mythbuster ones they used to sell in those Discovery stores. I used to always remember these. Those stores are totally gone now. I used to always like those. Like the Discovery Channel actually had a store, and they sold like all kinds of stuff related to them. And this one is called His Highness's Hollywood. This guy sort of looks like a strange Nicolas Cage looking kind of guy, like with really terrible Photoshop on this. I do not know what that is. That one I might have to get. I don't know. Moscow Zero. I don't think I've ever watched this one. Vincent Gallo. Day of the Dead. Are You Scared? That's kind of a weird one. I don't know if I've ever seen that one. Live Feed. That was actually a cool Ryan Nicholson movie that he directed. I really like that one. Black Cadillac. These you always see, Family Guy. The Dog Whisperer. Days of Darkness. That's another one. I don't know if I've ever seen this one or not. Savage Island. They have a couple of different horror ones in here. So that's kind of cool that they actually have some horror stuff. And this one, Midnight Movie, which I got that one in the horror pack. That was actually a pretty cool movie, people getting killed in the movie theater. This is a weird one, Jobs for Dogs. Oh, it's like a thing about rescue dogs. I guess it's like, I don't know if it's like a movie about rescue dogs. That's kind of an interesting thing. Maybe called King, Martin Luther King one. So we'll keep looking through here and see if there's anything that different. Like I said, the most interesting thing is this, because I do not know what this thing is. The strange cover. Let's see though if there's anything else. But there's other stuff over here as well. So there's a bunch of movies and tapes. So I have to look through all these. Here's one somebody just brought in. They said, Mommy Dearest, I have this one. This is a great, if you guys haven't seen this movie, this is a really great movie about her as Joan Crawford, and she's like crazy with her daughter and stuff. Really love this movie. Faye Donahill, I know she didn't like that movie for some reason. This one I might get for $1, Motorhome Massacre. It's in like an old Hollywood video case, so that's kind of cool to see it in the old Hollywood video case. Probably for $1 I'll get that one. I do not know what this one is. Little Ladies of the Night with Lou Gossett Jr. These platinum ones are always kind of weird to find sometimes. They released like Meet the Hollowheads, and that one's kind of a rare one to find. It's funny, they have this old thing I remember when Pizza Hut was giving out, you know, DVDs with it of Mr. Mom. That's kind of funny to see that in here. I always remember that was one of those free ones you got when you got the pizza for a little while. And they have the VHS in here, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I always love the cover on this one. It's hard to believe this is still not on Blu-ray, but has on here that music video for Slaughter. I always love that. It started with that video. It's like a feature on the movie right before it plays. But that's kind of cool for that. I actually have like a couple copies of this, but kind of cool to see that in here because you don't see this too often. And they've got a weird like screener copy VHS of this movie here. And it's like got a thing in here that says like please return, you know, Paul's copy Virgin, like a Virgin Vision, please return. That's very weird. I don't know if it actually has a movie because it says cassette trailer, so that's weird, like an early screener of you know, a VHS screener, so that's kind of interesting. This is from like, I don't know when this, 89, so this is like a really early day screener. This is a weird thing, you never see like a set of like all these Alfred Hitchcock movies together on VHS, and some of them have never even been opened. I have all these, I think most of them on Blu-ray. That's kind of cool to see them. I know Rope though still hasn't been released on Blu-ray though, at least in the US. And I was leaving the thrift store, I was going over to that car, and I wasn't paying any attention. I'm like, it looks a little bit like more orange than mine. Kept trying to open it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not my car. My car is over here. So it's a real strange, stupid, confusion thing of me going to the wrong car. But I just got this weird one, Motorhome Massacre. It was only $1. Nothing else to that, nothing that different. Some of those things had a couple value, like that Lou Gossett Jr. one. Just didn't sound like that much of one I needed to get. But this one for $1 wasn't bad. Rummage sale around the back? It's like rummage sale around the back. It's like there's no one here. I don't know. And I haven't heard anyone use that word rummaged in a really long time. It's like some church or something over here. Might get like, I don't know where this is. We'll see if we can find this. Rummage sale. Well, they're going about to lose the hat. Rummage sale around the back. I actually had a couple interesting weird VHS in here, like this one I'd never heard of, a Blake Edwards film, A Fine Mess. And this Repossessed, which was kind of an Exorcist spoof with Linda Blair. It's a cool old cover on this. This one I had never heard of before, called Frozen Assets, which looked kind of interesting. But there was some of the most different VHSs I've seen of like comedies. This one, Sweeney Todd one, I think was some kind of movie for Showtime. I had never seen that one before. But then one really weird one I saw. This was one you wouldn't expect to see at like a church rummage sale, Lust in the Dust. That the movie with the vine, that's a pretty weird movie. But this one, The Young Doctors, where's the other one? Coming up in a second, I'm going to show this really strange one I came across called Beaks the Movie. And I don't know if I had ever heard this before in my life, but it looked really interesting and really weird. And they had this like kind of Mystic Night, something from like Fox TV Kids or something like that. I had never seen that one before either. And then an old VHS of Moving Violations. So out of the rummage sale, I got this Natasha Lyonne movie, which I had never seen before. This, I don't think I had ever seen this one. It looked kind of interesting. It was only $1. And then this one, looks really weird. I feel like I might have like seen this as a little kid or something, or remember the cover. I don't think this is on DVD or anything, and it's called Beaks the Movie, and it looks like it's like kind of like a cheap killer like birds movie. And this one's like sells for like $10, you know. This is a slightly weird one to find. So it's kind of an interesting one. I definitely actually look forward to actually seeing this. It looks really peculiar and strange. Like I said, Beaks the Movie. Into FYE we go. Looking here and see if they change anything out or not. Like I would just look like the easiest way, like I always say, is just look at the front where it says the use tags, and then you can see. This is a kind of cool Michael Berryman movie. I always kind of like this with him and Edward Furlong, and it was a pretty cool one. But we'll see if there's anything interesting or different in here today. You can get The Haunting of Whaley House in here, which I have a part in the beginnings. That's kind of cool. I've never actually seen this for sale in here. I've only ever seen it in, I think, like, Fry's I've seen it before, but never, as far as I can remember, in here. And they have this old edition of Misery, which is kind of cool, like this really old cover of Misery, like one of the early releases of that. That's kind of cool with their old release one. I actually got something in there for 48 cents. This weird thing called Best of Web Video was $1. That was half off today. It's presented by the Numa guy. I thought it'd be kind of interesting to get it because it would be like really old, web viral videos from years back. It was big in like 2007. So it'd be kind of interesting just to get it for the hell of it, just to like see what were the big hits then of 2007. I don't know. It's for 48 cents. You can't not get it. Into Walmart we go. Well, it doesn't seem to be too much different today, anything really different from the past couple of weeks. Pretty much everything I saw last week, like Hashtag Horror, Exit 14, that Slender Man movie one, but nothing else too different. The only other thing that came out today was Norm of the North, which I saw in theaters. I actually did see that, and it was like the animation was really strange, and it looked like animation from like 15 years ago or 10 years ago. It was just really antiquated animation, but it was kind of okay, I guess, but nothing amazing at all. Into Best Buy we go. Yeah, one of the other things that came out today too was the Ip Man 3, Donnie Yen. It was pretty cool because it had, Mike Tyson in it, and it was him doing like karate and stuff. So it was kind of cool to see him doing that. It was kind of like unexpected to see him in the film. But other than that, I don't think there's too much other stuff today. Like I said, it was really just The Revenant today, and then Norm of the North and 50 Shades of Black. The Revenant, I think the one in the other place opens up like this as well. So that's kind of cool like that. But there's no, a steelbooks or any other kinds of editions, and like I said too, you're seeing now more of the 4Ks places even in Target. And Norm of the North though, if you want to watch like a really strange, like I said, the animation seems so dated and old. Like I don't know why. It's kind of like that movie Hoodwinked, where the animation like was really behind in the times, and this is like the same thing. It was almost, I think it was actually made to be like a TV movie or a direct-to-DVD movie, and then it ended up getting into theater release. Well, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today, and I actually did find some kind of cool stuff today. That really weird VHS tape, and those other DVDs, that horror one, and then the Tasha Leon movie. But anyway though guys, now stay tuned for some new DVD and Blu-ray reviews, and like I also said, if you guys are at Monsterpalooza this Saturday, I'm going to be there, and it's in, not in Burbank this time, now it's in Pasadena. So if you see me there, don't be afraid to say hello. Anyway though, thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. And the first one I got from Arrow Video US is a Larry Cohen film, The Stuff, which is so cool. This movie is finally out on Blu-ray in the US. I absolutely love this movie. It's a really, really cool film. Always one that I've really loved. It's been out of print for a long time. The old Anchor Bay edition was out of print and back in print and out of print. But now it's finally out, like I said, on Blu-ray in the US. It's basically a movie about this weird substance that's come out of the ground. These guys that are like drilling, they find this kind of substance coming out of the ground, and the guy has like this urge to taste it, and it's like this white gross stuff coming out of the ground, but he's like addicted to the idea of trying it. Tries it, absolutely loves it. It looks kind of like this kind of melted ice cream. Here's like a look at like the one poster of it, but it's this weird stuff that's come out of the ground, and of course like he loves it, and then it becomes, cut to later, this stuff has been bottled up, put in these containers, and everyone is going crazy about it. They're doing like commercials about it. The stuff, gotta get the stuff, and all these, like, it's become like a huge like trend of everyone like addicted to this ice creamy, yogurty, whatever the hell this thing is. It's come out of the ground, and the one kid is noticing that his family and people who are trying the stuff and eating the stuff, they're getting very strange and getting like, they're acting odd, and there's something off about them, and he's like refusing to eat it, and he kind of believes that his family is becoming like zombies because of it. And he's like, there's scenes too of him going in the market when he's knocking the stuff all over the ground and going crazy. It's like, this is a great like weird movie about this stuff that's like controlling the people. Also, this other company hires this guy to kind of investigate what the stuff is, because they kind of want to steal it for themselves, because they're trying to figure out what everyone is like so addicted to about the stuff. But it has on here though, a brand new making of on here, with Larry Cohen, 52-minute making of, talking about the movie, talking about interviews with the special effects people and things like that about the film. Also an introduction with the director, Darren Balsman, who directed Saw 2 and 3. Also a brand new transfer on this, and also a booklet in here with, some pictures and like posters. This is the one cover I always remember. This one, it was on the old DVD release of it. But I absolutely really love this movie. A really cool throwback kind of film. And here's like the Stuff kind of commercial that you see playing a lot in the movie. But there's really cool songs in this too. But I really like this, and it's like this whole thing about trying to kind of uncover uncover what it is with the stuff and what's happened to everybody, if there's any way to stop it, because there's really gross stuff that happens to people when they get taken over by the stuff. But it's got too kind of like a blob kind of feel a little bit, but I really love this movie. Like I said, really glad this is out on Blu-ray. The next one, this is one I had never seen in my life. The director of this, they released one of his other films, Island of Death. So I actually really like that movie a lot. This one's called The Zero Boys. And like I said, I had never heard of this movie. Kelly Maroney, who was in Night of the Comet, stars in this movie. And it's about a great group of these guys who kind of go out and do like kind of hunting, kind of extreme, kind of like, I don't know what you call it, like kind of like paintball kind of championships almost kind of stuff, where it's like they're like the Zero Boys, and they kind of battle against other guys in teams, and they have like guns that are like kind of paintball guns, sort of things like that, and they kind of play like these war games, and they're always like the undefeated kind of team, and they end up winning in the very beginning of the movie when they're out in this kind of course. It's kind of like a film set kind of area where they're kind of fighting each other, and like I said, they're always undefeated, they're always like the winning guys, but they end up going out there, and then they go out with their girlfriends out to go to this cabin in the woods to kind of get away. But when they're out there, they see this one girl running through the woods, and they believe they saw her get attacked, and then they see some blood, go to the cabin where they are, and then weird stuff starts to happen. They start seeing this guy with a knife, and it's a very creepy, weird stuff going on. And the thing that's kind of cool about this movie was it was actually shot at the cabin, where they filmed Friday the 13th Part 3. So it was kind of cool. Like, it was like exact same sets, like the everything, the barn. So it's kind of like really odd to see this movie filmed on the exact same everything, pretty much. So it's kind of cool, like, to think that they filmed this other movie there, and it looked pretty much the same in most areas. But it has on here, a brand new 4K transfer in the movie. And a commentary track with Kelly Maroney on here, the director talking about the making of the film. But this is a really pretty cool movie, like I said, that I had never heard anything about in my life. And it was actually really like this a lot. But here's a look at the discs on this. But it was a really interesting kind of movie, and like kind of a different take on these kind of ones. The next one, I'm just going to show you guys a quick look at this one. It's the Outlaw. It's from Arrow Video US as well. The Outlaw Gangsters collection, the VIP, the complete collection. It has on here. These are all these movies are from 1968 and 69, I believe. Yeah, I think that's when they were all from, and they're all kind of movies about like the Japanese underworld. And it has on here Gangster VIP, Gangster VIP 2, Heartless, Goro the Assassin, Black Dagger, and Kill. And I'll give you a little look inside of this one. It has on here, this is a limited edition to 3,000 copies edition on here, but it has in here, a booklet about things about all the movies in here, and some pictures and things like that from the films. And also, like, here's a little look too at the discs in here. It's like a 6-disc set, so a very cool limited edition set. Like I said, and this is the Outlaw Gangsters VIP collection, which is out now from Arrow Video as well. The next one from Universal is the new Ice Cube Kevin Hart film Ride Along 2, which is actually a really fun movie. I actually like the first movie a lot. I don't think this one was as good as the first one when it comes to like comedy aspects, but I really did like it. I do also feel like Kevin Hart and Ice Cube, I like them a little better in like R-rated material a little bit, because I feel like they have to be kind of toned down a little bit with PG-13, because like some of my favorite stuff that Ice Cube's done is like been Friday and things like that are more R-rated. Same with Kevin Hart's, his films like them more too in an R-rated material wise, but still they are very funny together, and I do feel like they're probably going to do a third film as well. But the movie, though, is basically, though, in the first movie, Kevin Hart is dating Ice Cube's sister, and Ice Cube is really not into the whole thing and kind of doesn't like him, and they kind of like are getting into fights with each other and all these kind of issues. But after, but then they make up and become friends, and Kevin Hart's character ends up joining the team because Ice Cube's character is a cop, and he goes on ride-alongs with him in the first movie, but then he actually becomes a real cop in the second movie, and he kind of wants to prove himself and finally prove himself to Ice Cube that he really can be a real cop. And there's a big thing with these drugs going along in Miami, and he convinces him to let him come along on this this bus with him. But it's also the same time Kevin Hart's trying to plan his wedding, and it's kind of them when they go there to Miami, and they're having all these kind of issues along the way and messing things up and screwing up things with the force, and then they're getting in trouble, and things like they keep on letting people go, or then they end up destroying something in the city and getting in trouble for it and getting screwed up. And that's essentially what it is their whole set of problems with each other, and Kevin Hart really trying to prove himself and actually show that he can be a real cop. And that's pretty much what it is. But it has on here though bonus features as deleted scenes, a gag reel, ride along hilarious recruitment video, Blu-ray exclusive. It has a ride along roundtable, the ride diaries with Kevin Hart and Ice Cube. So a number of different things. On his ride along with Kevin Hart day on the set video. So a lot of features on this one. And the next one, this is one that is a really weird movie from Draft House Films, and it's one of those movies kind of like the So Bad It's Good kind of films. And this is a movie too that has like an interesting story behind it. But the movie's called The Dangerous Men, and the movie was started being filmed in the 70s, and then they shot some of it in the 80s and up to like 95. But then the movie didn't actually come out anywhere and be screened for the first time till 2005, and then it didn't actually get like picked up and I believe released until like 2007. So the director didn't even see the movie actually get released. And the movie's basically though, it kind of follows around different characters, but it was some really, really fun sequences. It's like ridiculous sequences, especially the music really kind of has like a Home Alone video game when Kevin's like setting up the traps in the video game, like really cheesy, unfitting music in some scenes. Like they chose that music, but basically though, it's this couple, this girlfriend, this girl and this guy are on a beach, and these two weird biker guys end up trying to attack and rape the girl, and the boyfriend ends up like strangling the one guy, and the other biker guy ends up stabbing the boyfriend and killing him. So then the girl ends up like saying to the biker guy, I'm glad you killed him. I didn't like him anyway. I really want to be with you. So she ends up going to the hotel with him and killing him, and it's this ridiculous death. And then she's like, I vow to never, and it's really weird acting, and she's like, I'm gonna go and destroy all the bad men of this world. So she gets like this vow to go and kill them, and right afterwards she meets this guy on the road who like picks her up and then tries to rape her, and then she like takes his clothes and he's running through the desert naked and he's like dancing. It's some of the most ridiculous sequences I've ever seen in my life, especially with the music that like is like this strange, unfitting music. And then there's like stuff with these biker gangs, and there's just some really absurdly ridiculous stuff in this. It's just a really fun, ridiculous kind of movie. But it has on here though, a booklet about the movie. This kind of card thing in here too, Dangerous Men card. But here's a look inside to it, like the guy that gets strangled out. But it's a really fun movie. But it also has on here some interviews on here, commentary track with the Story All Movies author on here, documentary about the film and the initial 2005 release. But this is, like I said, this is from Draft House. But this is just a really, really fun movie. I would definitely recommend if you want to watch a really ridiculous movie. The next one from RLJ Entertainment, from Image, is The Haunting of Alice D. This is basically about, in the 1800s, there's this like old prostitute house where, like a kind of like a cat house, prostitute house, where there's these two girls there, and the one girl like was kind of forced into doing it. Both of them were really forced into doing it by like these awful people who ran the place, and the one guy's played by Kane Hodder, and they're kind of really abusive and things like that. And they find out that the one ended up killing herself there and kind of haunts the house. And years later, these guys have bought the place, and they're kind of throwing like a housewarming party for the place. And then, then weird things start to happen at the house that night when they just kind of discover the past about the house. And also, it's kind of like history repeating itself, because the guys are like doing all kinds of drugs and being really mean to the women. So it's kind of like what was happening back then is almost happening now with these guys. So it's, like I said, it's got that history repeats itself, kind of what happened then, kind of happening now, and then bad things start to happen to them and things like that. That's essentially what it is. But a pretty cool, like creepy kind of haunted house kind of movie about, like I said, what's going on in the past coming to the present. And this one is one I have wanted to watch this movie for years. It's finally out. I remember hearing about this I think in 2009 or so. I remember seeing pictures from this. And I always wondered if it was ever going to come out. And it's called She-Wolf Rising. It's, stars Tiffany Shepis, Nicole Furey's in this movie, Ruby LaRocca, a bunch of people that I know is in this movie. So I was really interested to watch this one. It's kind of hard to explain. It kind of has this feeling, too, that it was kind of like shot, and then they kind of narrated over some of it to kind of, because they weren't sure how it was going and stuff. And like kind of maybe things got changed around a little bit. But the movie's basically, though, about Tiffany Shepis playing pretty much a character like herself, this scream queen who is like making this movies, and she ends up meeting this guy who's like a super fan of her in the convenience store, and you know, he's seen a lot of her movies, and actually he's like looking at this magazine with her picture in it, and then he sees her in there. It's kind of like really weird how it happens like that, and then they start to like see each other, and she kind of tries to get him to help her find this missing film that she was in, but also that the movie cuts back and forth too to like the guy telling his friend on the couch like the story about how they met, and it kind of reminds you of like one of those Cinemax kind of movies, like kind of like an adult movie but not an adult movie, and they're like kind of go, and the guy's like, oh, so what happened? And he's like, oh, what happened then what? Oh, jeez. It's kind of like the guy was like real over the top about it, about like hearing the stories about his encounters with Tiffany Shepard. It was just really kind of odd, some of what was going on. But I you know, let's say I finished the whole movie and really did actually kind of like some of it. And it kind of has a strange outcome at the end too, of like what happened and everything. But like I said, She-Wolf Rising also deals with kind of like her being like, as she says, a real scream queen, and like if you dictate lines from movies, she starts to kind of change. You have to watch the movie to see exactly what happens. And the last one from Severin Films, this is a Roman Polanski film. I think this was from 1972, so this was after Rosemary's Baby, and this is a seldom seen movie, and I read like there's like rumors about this, how like the print was stolen from like a wine cellar, the producer like had to steal it back, and it's like a real lost movie. It's called What? From Roman Polanski. It's basically kind of like a weird, his kind of take on like Alice in Wonderland, this girl who goes to like, gets attacked by these guys, and she like goes down this kind of like a kind of thing that goes across, I don't know what it exactly say it is, but something she goes across, like kind of a weird like elevator gondola thing going across this thing, and she gets into this kind of weird kind of mansion house, and when she's like escaping from these guys, she gets in there, and there's all these weird sort of characters, kind of like the Alice in Wonderland kind of characters, like the Mad Hatters and like the Rabbit, and all these kind of weird sorts that she kind of runs into, where they all kind of deal with like weird kind of perverted versions of like sexual perverted versions of these characters. That's kind of what it is. It's kind of these weird encounters that she goes through that are really kind of odd and strange, and at the time they'd say kinky, but it's this really strange Roman Polanski movie, not like anything else of his that I've seen. And like I said, this was after Rosemary's Baby, kind of a weird thing for him to be doing, but has a great transfer, and this really looks good. It has on here too an interview with the actress, interview too with the composer of this one. Like I said, this is from Severin. Same way to go. That's, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.